What up? Today, dessert. So this is a dessert I've been working on for a little bit, tweaking it from pop-ups I've done for Maury already, and just want to keep refining it. The basis of this dessert has always been a yogurt sorbet. I really love frozen yogurt. I love the acidity and the sourness it brings mixed with sugar, so it's not overly sweet. I'm messing around today with a granita of cucumber. Yogurt and cucumber, classic fare. So today we'll be making a granita of cucumber with some basil and lemongrass, and then some pieces of not necessarily pickled cucumbers, basically a simple syrup with vinegar in it, garnished with some meringues made of coconut. A little bit all over the place, but all the flavors in my head make sense, and I think it'll be super tasty, lots of cool textures, and really just bright. This is meant to be a first dessert or pre-dessert before the main dessert in a tasting menu. I always like the first dessert to be really bright. Bridges the gap between the main dessert that's really, I like being rich, and then the last savory course, which is usually always rich for me. This will be a lot of fun. It's kind of an R&D moment for me, and y'all get to come along for the journey. So let's start with the meringue, because it's going to need the most time to dehydrate and dry. And so you're going to make a French meringue. Most straightforward and basic, no cooking necessary. So we will start by whisking egg whites with a little bit of salt and cream of tartar. Cream of tartar makes it more refined, better, smoother, shinier texture. Won't dry out. We will whip this till a little bit foamy, and we'll slowly start adding our granulated sugar. Whip that to nice medium peaks, and then remove, sift in coconut powder and confectioner's sugar. Gently fold, and then it's ready to spread. Let's do it. So that is right where we want it, nice and foamy. So we're going to start adding our granulated sugar in small batches. And then continue to whisk. Turn it down slightly, we're getting close. And we'll add the rest of our sugar. Voila. Right where we want this. Stiff, but not dry. Holds its shape nicely. Perfect. Another reason you want to make sure you're sifting it, sugars and powders with sugars in it, clump. And it's just going to make your end product really clumpy and not nice. You spend all this time making this meringue and then don't fuck it up. All right, so we have everything sifted now. And again, just take your time, just fold it in. Great food is all about patience. Just takes time. Don't rush anything, don't cut corners. So now that we have everything folded in, we'll spread it on the silpat. For this task, I recommend getting a large offset spatula. You can spread it however the hell you want. You can make it really rustic and wavy. For this purpose and this dessert, I want it to be thickness throughout, so larger the utensil is better for that. And then start spreading. Now a little pro tip at this point, get a little bit of Vaseline or pan spray, and the fat will keep from sticking. So you get nice, smooth, even strokes. But this is the nice finishing touch. Right. So now it's ready to dry. Best option is a food dehydrator. You can do it in an oven at the lowest setting. Since I do, we're going to pop it in there. So now we'll let this dry for 4 to 6 hours. The longer the better. Set it and forget it. Now we're going to make the granita. We're going to juice these with the skin on. Try and keep that green color. We're also going to get color from the basil. We'll blanch and blend that, add it in later. If you don't have a juicer, you can just dice these small and then just blend them. Pass it through a fine sieve. Yeah, got some good green color out of that. Not too bad. We'll pass this through a fine sieve. Cucumber juice, strained. So now what we will do is slice some lemongrass, steep that in the cucumber juice. This will give it a nice lemony, gingery, mint kind of flavor. And then as it's steeping, we'll take a little bit out and use it to dissolve the sugar to sweeten the granita, and then some glucose syrup. So the glucose is going to help this freeze softer. So if it wasn't added, it would just freeze into one hard cucumber brick. This will help it scrape easier, and it'll make it fluffier rather than like shards of the granita. So if you're making granita, glucose is a nice addition to that. So when using lemongrass, I like to use the back of my knife a bit, just to kind of let the oils and the water content in the lemongrass come through. It'll just incorporate better. And then I like to slice it on a bias. And I'm also slicing it as thin as possible. Again, this will release all its flavor into the liquid quicker, rather than if you just did large chunks. It would take a little bit longer for all of that flavor to get into the cucumber juice. So while the cucumber juice steeps with the lemongrass in the fridge, we're going to blanch and blend the basil. So lightly seasoned water, not trying to have it seasoned like you're blanching a vegetable. Just a little bit of salt to bring out the basil flavor. And immediately shock it, lock those colors in. Then we'll blend it with a little bit of water, pass it, and then get the granita base finished and frozen. So basil blanched and shocked. Want to make sure it's completely cold. You don't want to blend it while it's still warm. That will brown the herb. And we'll use some of this same shocking water to blend it. This is one of those things I'm just going to kind of eyeball. So yeah, that looks good. So we will pass this again to get all the basil solids out of here, and then keep this in the fridge until we're ready to add it to the granita base. And with this, you want to use a spoon or a ladle to really press and get as much of that water as possible. Get a lid on it, pop it in the fridge. All right, so let's get the base mixed with the glucose and the sugar. Again, we're just going to take a little bit of this cucumber. I want to try and get as much of the lemongrass in this as possible, just so the heat will infuse that lemongrass a little bit more. All right, so sugar and glucose dissolved. Brought it up just enough to dissolve it. The color still looks good, but let's get this back into the base so we don't lose that color. Let's add the basil. So since this is the first time doing this, I don't have a proper ratio. We will start with 10% of the total weight. So we'll add 100 grams of this basil water. Taste. Always taste your food. Taste everything throughout every single step. Color is great. I want a little bit more basil, so we'll add the rest of this. It'll probably take us up to 15%. So I actually took this up to 20%, right where it should be. It tastes pretty good, but it needs some acidity. So I want to add a little bit of lime juice, and we'll pass it, get it in the freezer. This is something I won't lay out. I tend to add stuff like citrus to taste, and that's fucking delicious. So we'll pass it, get it in the freezer. All right, time to make the sorbet. We're gonna start with a base. So with this, you can just make a big base, and you can actually add it by percentage to whatever you want to make a sorbet. So today we're making yogurt. You can do coconut, you can do fruit purees, really limitless. So it consists of water, sugar, glucose, trimoline, and sorbet stabilizer. All we need to do is dissolve all the solids and then chill it, and then we'll add the yogurt to it and spin it. All right, time to spin the yogurt. So at-home ice cream machines, they get the job done. They are not commercial ice cream machines, obviously. Commercial ice cream machines get cold very fast, and they spin and churn the ice cream or sorbet very fast. You do that to avoid water forming and then ice crystals forming. At-home ice cream machines churn pretty slow. So a way you can combat that is the bowl that you spin the ice cream or sorbet in, pop it in the freezer beforehand, get that frozen. It'll just speed up the process, make your life a lot easier, and you get a better product in the end. All right, so sorbet is done spinning. Again, at-home ice cream machines get the job done, just not as efficiently. Hello, Rue. Hello. No. Gotta get down. So what I'm going to do now is get it in an ice cream container and then let it set up in the freezer a little bit more. So now we will make the syrup. It's going to be a syrup with a good amount of vinegar in it. It's going to be equal parts sugar, water, simple syrup, and then season it to taste, pear vinegar. All right, sugar's dissolved, syrup's made. So now let's add the vinegar. Still a little too sweet. So in essence, we're making a shrub. Not quite the same ratio. Usually that's equal parts of everything. Still want it to be a little more sweet. But that's perfect. Nice acidity, but a good amount of sweetness. I think the cucumbers will absorb this really well. We'll cool this down a little bit. It doesn't need to be super cold, but we definitely don't want the cucumbers to cook in it. We want them to keep their nice crisp texture. So we'll let this cool down and we'll start cutting the cucumbers. So we're going to use a Kirby cucumber for this, also known as a pickling cucumber. Usually used for pickling because they keep crispiness really, really well. Nice texture to them. So I'm going to mess around with some different cuts, but I think I'm going to land on obliques. So an oblique cut is just very mismatched, kind of just no uniformity to it, different. So we'll cut these and then get them marinated. Checking out our granita. Fully frozen. Now let's just give it a scrape test. Yeah, and the texture looks amazing. When you're scraping, you want to make sure you change directions. Horizontal, vertical, horizontal, vertical. We'll just get the best here. Tastes like a cucumber Gatorade, which is my favorite. And you can always scrape this ahead of time and store it in a container. All right, we're almost ready to plate. So finishing touches, we'll get our meringues ready to garnish. Came out exactly how I wanted it. We'll break it up into just different pieces. We will dust it with some freeze-dried basil powder. So keep that basil flavor going through and kind of tie it all together. Starting to plate the dish. I have put this bowl in the freezer ahead of time to keep it nice and cold. So that way when the granita goes down, it doesn't melt instantly. So let's start by putting the granita in the bowl. Then we'll top it with the marinated cucumbers. And then a nice sphere of the sorbet. And then we'll garnish with our coconut meringues. And so that's it. A dessert of yogurt, cucumber, basil, and coconut. Real clean, bright flavors, good textures, but let's try it. That's really clean. That's nice. Everything's really balanced. Really balanced. The sweetness of the meringue with the brightness of the granita and the tart and sourness of the sorbet. Balanced really well. Nice texture from the cucumbers. I mean, pretty fucking spot on. This is really tasty. I'm very critical of my food, but this is something I'd be very happy with. Hell yeah. This was a lot of fun. I plan on doing plenty more of this. Make sure you like this video, hit the bell, get notified when more come, because there will be more coming. And fuck yeah. See you next time. Peace.